Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What You're Thankful For in Wrestling. This is on the new branded channel, so it's not the Positively Awesome Wrestling channel anymore. This is the Friday Nitro Review channel. And normally we'd be doing the podcast, but this one's a little different this week, so I'm throwing it over here. Usually we're on Wrestle Buddy, but this is the channel. But next Friday, it'll be this channel. So this is a great way for me to, I guess, segue people into the channel for next week. So when we do the Nitro reviews. So that's next week, everybody. Join us for that. But for now, what we're thankful for in wrestling. I am joined, as always, by Albert to the right below me. Albert, how the heck have you been? And how have you been enjoying wrestling?
Hey, wrestling's been fun. I've been, my life's been crazy, but wrestling's always there to be fun.
Absolutely. And then we have Nick joining us, and he is over here to the right of me. Nick, how the heck have you been since I saw you on Sunday? And how have you been enjoying wrestling this week?
I've been good, and I've thoroughly been enjoying wrestling this week. I haven't watched Dynamite yet, so no downers.
Spoiler alert, your week is going to go.
Yeah, so I've heard. But Raw was fantastic. NXT was, well, I'll get to NXT in a bit because that's
good. I am curious to kind of go watch NXT this week because I saw and heard about this Chase U thing, and I'm intrigued because I've always kind of been off and on about Chase U. I think it's a great gimmick. I think
it's heartbreaking, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a little messed. I think they've messed it up quite a few times, but then they've always managed to bring it back, and it's good to see Ridge Holland get something after just the shitstorm he was getting from people for so long.
And this accidents happen in wrestling at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's still getting it too, because there's a lot of people that think that he hasn't earned the spot, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't like a good main event for a takeover."
What do you mean he hasn't earned the spot? He's an established guy having a match with a developmental talent in Trick Williams.
Because they're internet fans who think that the only thing that matters is if you can do like 16 Hurricane Ranas at the same exact time. It doesn't compute in their minds that wrestlers wrestle at a different style, and that he and Trick can have a great solid match with each other. They're both really good workers.
I think it'll be a different style of match, which is good.
Yes,
it's not the basic shit we see like all over the channels these days, and that's not a bad thing. Styles. The reason UFC is boring to me these days because there's not a vast variety of styles anymore. Everyone's kind of a hybrid of everything. Mm-hmm. Back in the day when you had a wrestler taking on a Muay Thai guy or a kickboxer taking on a ground and pound, it was interesting because it was like, okay, I like the contrast of styles. So when there's different styles in wrestling, that's always a good thing, and people need to realize that.
I'm going to say it now. I am comparing this match already to Booker T versus Scott Steiner.
Okay.
I like that.
That's what it reminds me of, because Trick Williams is easily the new Booker T. Like, as in his level of charisma, his flamboyance, his connection to the audience. He's not quite there in the ring by anywhere near means, but once he reaches that level,
to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Once he reaches that level, Trick is going to soar. And Ridge Holland is a very Steiner style wrestler. Lots of power games, lots of suplexes, grinding.
Suplexes. So, yeah.
Like you said, Albert, I think they're just going to really, really fit together well.
I agree.
All right, but so we will get to what we're here for, what we are thankful for. We're going to go ahead and call this the Thanksgiving extravaganza, even though it's not Thanksgiving. It's a week before Thanksgiving, but I don't really care because Thanksgiving is a silly holiday. But it gives us an opportunity.
Survivor Series. It's more important.
We have an opportunity to just talk about what we're thankful for in wrestling, which is something that I feel like is a missed in the IWC because it is it's like Borderlands in the IWC these days. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off and say this is going to shock a little bit, but I'm actually thankful for the IWC because, one, it has allowed me to meet a lot of wonderful people, such as Nick and Albert and Andy and Cy. And, hey, I've met Courtney in the chat here. I've met about 5 other people from over in the UK. I met your brother. I've met a lot of people from the IWC that I genuinely enjoy, and I look at a lot of them as like genuine friends that I talk to more regularly than I talk to friends I've had for 20 years. So I'm actually thankful for the IWC in that sense. And it also has allowed me to say, like, wow, I'm actually a really good wrestling fan because there are so many shitty ones out there. And they make me laugh from time to time. But yeah, that's a shocker, but it's legit. I'm thankful for the IWC. Nick, I'm gonna swing it over to you. You're gonna tell us what you're thankful for, unless you have something unless you agree with me. Are y'all thankful for the IWC as well?
Oh, I completely agree with you. The simple fact is, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met Albert. I wouldn't have met Andy. Andy and I have been fast friends now for 5 years, since the old Wrestle Buddy days. So they've been Simon I've known for a lot longer, obviously, but I met Simon through wrestling. That's how we got together. We used to go to indie shows together and we became mates. The fact is, the Toxic League, as I like to call it, is getting larger on Twitter, unfortunately, because there are too many children who haven't watched enough wrestling in their life to know a wrist lock from a wristwatch, who think they can tell wrestlers how to do their job.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, I don't care that they like something different. I can't stand when I see like Ricky Morton say something. These kids jump in Ricky Morton's comments. They'd be like, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." What?
Who are you talking to like that, young man?
But also, I guess to add on to it, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm thankful for Blue Sky, because Nick, you're saying you think that it's become bigger these days. I actually think Blue Sky's helped balance it a little bit, because all the ones that were constantly complaining about WWE and the shit they do, but then get upset and mad when AEW gets criticized for things, have now kind of moved over there. Oh, good. And it's kind of created this, I don't want to say peaceful environment, because there's still a lot of shitheads, but there's not as much.
Yeah, I think noticed my feed has got less.
It's a little less toxic. Yeah.
The Thursdays are a lot. Today has been like way more calm than it usually is, and it's because they've not all of them, but a good percentage of them have moved over there, and it's like, that's good, but man, they're just doing their thing over there now instead of on there. It's the same nonsense, just in a different place. But I'm thankful that it's happening now. If I want
more of an echo chamber.
Yeah, if I want to avoid it, I could just stay away from that app, and I don't have to worry about it. And I could talk wrestling with wrestling.
Exactly.
So, I am thankful for Blue Sky for that aspect, and I wanted to add that to the IWC. I'll swear from now on I'll be nice and talk about wrestling, but I just wanted to get those out of the way, because man, that's just been eating me alive. But Nick, the guest, our guest of the day, you're gonna go ahead and go next. What is something
the geek of the day is thankful for this man leaving AEW. Quite frankly, as you know, Jim, I'm one of the biggest CM Punk marks in the world. I think he is one of the most talented, underrated, underutilized, and hardworking men that has ever gone into the wrestling business. And a lot of people didn't understand the difference between having a ambitious attitude and having a problem. Punk is good for the business. WWE's proved this in the last year. Drew McIntyre just had the greatest feud of his entire run in WWE. The fact that he came back nearly a year ago now is mind-boggling. That it's been nearly a year since he came back. Next week, it'll be a year, won't it, since he redid the Survivor Series. And I was happy when he came back to AEW because Punk was back.
I was through the moon, buddy.
After those first 3 months of Collision, the writing was on the wall. Like, it was just, you could see in his face that he was just not feeling it there. And to see how happy he is and how comfortable he is and how much he's loving wrestling again is just, it's brilliant. I love it when people have epiphanies and they come out the other side smiling, and it looks like Mr. Brooks has done just that.
He's grown up, admitted his wrongdoings, and realized, hey, yeah. But he's also said that the environment, because everyone calls him a hypocrite for going back, and he stated, like, hey, if this was the environment that was there 10 years ago, I would have never left. So,
and that's a big thing. It's a lot of pieces of the puzzle fell together in the right way for Punk to return to WWE. The whole, sometimes, it's the age old adage, the grass is greener on the other side, right? Sometimes you believe, hey, here's the alternative to them. They're doing something totally different. It looks like everybody gets along backstage. They got a boss who seems like he's really cool and he's a wrestling fan, so he gets it.
Listens.
But yeah, he listens, let me go over there and see what happens. And then sometimes you get into that environment and you think to yourself, well, why aren't we, and Punk being Punk, well, why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we doing that? And how come this is happening when we don't have this? And why am I doing this? And, I think in WWE now, he kind of just doesn't have to worry about that. He comes in and they're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is who you're going to go against. This is where we're going with it. Cool. All right, let's do it.
I like to compare this comeback of Punk's to Shawn's.
Yeah.
So Shawn Michaels was a problem. He was a problem child.
That's exceptional comparison.
Yeah.
He was a problem child who got injured, got hurt, walked away, sorted himself out, sorted his life out, came back and helped the business.
Yeah.
CM Punk's doing the exact same thing. And anyone that doesn't applaud him for this is realistically being miserable for the sake of being miserable.
I mean, I'll say I get why certain people are mad at him and all that.
Yeah.
I think they should just let it go at this point, because if things are better off for both sides, which I'm told on a constant basis, then what does it matter?
They are.
Right.
Like,
why harbor resentment? It's
they
a good thing.
They aren't, but you're saying you're thankful he's back in WWE. I've been on the side of I wished he stayed in AEW. I really do. I'm glad that he's happy now, and that's fantastic. I just wish things had worked out in AEW, because
I chronically wish things had worked out in AEW.
Yeah,
but
I think he was better in there. I think he's better in AEW.
He's one of their biggest names now.
Yeah, but I said, hey, I'm not gonna be mad if he comes to WWE, and he did, and it's been great.
I honestly didn't even think there was a chance at a point that he was ever coming into WWE.
Yeah, we did.
So it's just crazy to know that, again, all the pieces fell together in the right way to allow him to make this big return. And it's a crazy thing.
All right. So now, Albert, what is something that you are thankful for in the wide world of wrestling?
So I just want to do one brief one, then I'm going to go. We'll kind of go into.
We'll make our rounds.
So this just the existence and the new renewed contract for AEW to be on television, because despite the fact of what everyone may believe, whether you're a very big WWE fan, whether you're a fan of both, whether you love or hate AEW, the idea that there are more jobs, there is more wrestling, there is more content out there for professional wrestling fans. The existence of AEW does nothing but strengthen and help the entire professional wrestling business. Rooting for any company, and I'm not just talking about AEW, because people have kind of made TNA into almost like a joke of the wrestling business. But there are people that are attending those shows that love that product. You have people that are wrestling there that are, that have so much passion and love the environment and everything like that. We talk about how WWE's environment is great, but we have the existence of TNA, whose backstage environment just seems like a bunch of friends who just like hang out and, have really cool matches with each other on television.
Let's give credit where credit's due. TNA is 22 years old.
Yes.
I think TNA should get a lot more credit because they walked so AEW could run.
Absolutely.
I stand by that 100%. And all the ECW talk that people talk about, I think TNA is more ECW than any other company right now, because they are the misfit place. That's where people go.
The little engine that could.
Yes. The TNA is that. And like I talk about it all the time, I'm not a big fan of what I say. I don't know what it is. I wish I did, but I tune in. It's just not for me. And then I tune out. I give a pay-per-view a chance, and usually when I watch their pay-per-views, they're fantastic.
Yeah,
they really are. But then their weekly television just doesn't hook me, and that's fine. There's other options, so I just don't watch it. That's why you don't see me talking shit about it.
Right,
just watch something else.
That's the thing. We have other options. And,
what up, Harry? Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining in, bud.
And, look, as wrestling fans, the more wrestling we get to see, the cooler it is. Because even if you don't like everything on AEW, sometimes it's really cool. Like those two title defenses that Danielson had on TV, like back to back, the one against McGuinness, and then he had another match like like a dream match. Like, did he wrestle Okada or something? Like, I was like, this is great. Like, this is two amazing Brian Danielson matches in a row for me. Thank you, AEW. The fact that that's there is great for me.
You mentioned the McGuinness match.
Yes.
I believe Tony Khan needs all the credit in the world for allowing Nigel to go out on a shield the way he did.
Yes.
Because Nigel was taken away from the business far too early in age due to injury and everything else. And he deserved to have that send-off. And it was a great match.
And I'm thankful for the existence of AEW, because without that, we probably wouldn't have that. And if we did, definitely not on this grand of a stage.
No.
So I'm very thankful for the fact of how much wrestling that there is out there for all of us.
So that's a great segue into mine, because I was about to say that I'm thankful for Tony Khan. I know that sounds like a shocker to people, but let me break it down for you. Yes, I do think Tony Khan's an idiot by the way that he runs the company. I've backed off on that sentiment a little bit lately because I've kind of looked at it in the way I should. I know you've heard, like, I've talked about the rating stuff and I've talked about the attendance stuff. And I guess the issue is, if it was not a billionaire running this show, that would be worrisome. But at the end of the day, I think we all need to realize this show ain't going anywhere. It's just,
he's got more money than God.
Yeah. So, like, even if they're losing money, it's not enough money for it to be something that's going to deter him away, because he's just like us. He is a massive wrestling fan.
Exactly.
The only difference is he's a different kind of wrestling fan. So he books the shows for himself, but there's a lot of other sickos out there. That's their term, and I'm not saying it in a derogatory way at all. That enjoy that brand and that style, and they don't get it from the main show like WWE. They don't get it at all. So I get why they gravitate towards that and they enjoy it. And that is awesome that Tony gets to do that. It's awesome that he pays these wrestlers what they do, because it has restored some balance in the world of wrestling as for the contracts for these wrestlers, which is fantastic. I've always said, like, as much as of an idiot I think he is, he's a great human being. Like, a great human being. The way he helps people and does things for these talents and all that, he stands by them. He's great. So I am thankful for Tony Khan. As much as I will talk shit about him and the way he does it, I've backed off for those reasons, and because I enjoy the show for the most part. But yeah, so thankful for AEW for sure. Thankful for Tony Khan because of what he's done for the wrestling world in general. He's probably the most important person of the last 15 years, maybe even longer, for the world of wrestling.
Hey, look, there was a point where there was a show in town. A show. That was it. It was one, and, there was this really other distant one all the way, in the back. It was it. If you wanted to go to the show, it was this one place. And now there's a completely different place where people can go and apply their craft and make really good money and work there. And Tony Khan is directly the person who, he saw All In and saw what this could be. And then, meets up with these guys and puts together a company, that is, definitely been catered to all the people who wanted an alternative. And say whatever you want about it, it's absolutely an alternative, because it is definitely not WWE at all.
And just to say this, he's a mark who owns a company. And yeah, I'm a mark. And if I had that kind of money, I'd own a company too. And I'd be running it the way I wanted to run it. I guess my problem the whole time with it is Vince ran his company the way he wanted to, and everyone hated him for it. So you can't be mad at one if you're going to praise the other one for it. And that was where my kind of was like pushback on these people praising him and all it was like, wait, he's doing what the other guy was doing.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, I never gave Vince crap for running it the way he wanted to, because it's his show and he could do it how he wants to. I might not have liked it all the time, but it's his. Tony Khan, same way. It's his. Run it the way you want to run it. If I like it, I'll watch it. If I don't, I won't. I will criticize some things from time to time, because I think criticism minor things, you should fix those things, and it's not just
criticism is good, complaining is not.
Yes. There you
Absolutely.
go. There you go. Like, be the alternative. Don't bounce back and forth. Find your identity, stick with it, and that's where the critiques come in. But there you go, Nick. Swing it back to you. I hope you have
Well,
something
we
other
didn't
than
even
AEW.
plan this, but that's a perfect segue. Because I am thankful that Tony Khan has announced this week that he is moving AEW back to smaller venues. He is moving AEW back to smaller venues.
Great.
This is a move he should have made months ago, quite frankly. Ticket sales have not been what he wanted them to be in the buildings that he was running. It's a shame, but they can easily pack out a 2,000-3,000 strong house. Easily. The show will look better for it. It will sound better for it. The crowd will be hotter. Because,
ECW.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at ECW, the 2,300 arena, right? You fit maximum of 3,000 people in that building, and it has the energy of a stadium, but more.
Yeah. Hammerstein, they're doing Hammerstein Ballroom, one of my favorite pro wrestling venues in the world. I love Hammerstein, and that's a great venue for them to run.
The Staples Center. It's one of the bigger venues he's going to be running.
Yeah.
For a pay-per-view. Sensible.
That's what they're saying, that like they'll still run the arenas and stuff for pay-per-views, which is fine.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know how good it is. I think it might be good for like your main ones, but not the newer ones.
Double or Nothing, All In.
Revolution, because I think Revolution was their biggest gate this year, which was Stings. That's fine. It makes sense.
And Forbidden Door, probably.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's in
the UK this year, isn't it?
Yes, we got it at Wembley. Well, it's not been announced that it's at Wembley. I don't think it'll be at Wembley. I hope he's going to run it in the O2.
I think the O2 is what he said.
Wembley,
I think that's what it is.
If he doesn't run it in the O2, Wembley Arena will be a really good place. That place is really hot for wrestling, the way it's situated. The seats are done all on, there's the crowd at the bottom, but then it's just tiers that just go up to the roof. And it's an indoor arena. It's got great energy. Flipping, I went there for Progress 100. Not 400, they have no 400 shows. I went there for Progress 100 when they did Hello Wembley. It was phenomenal. You had Gunther versus Tyler Bate in the main event. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah, incredible match. Absolutely incredible match. Tyler Bate came out dressed like Hulk Hogan circa 1981 with the gold robe.
That's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
But
yes, I am very, very thankful that Tony has decided to move the company back to smaller venues for the weekly shows. I think it will make the show look better. I think it will make the show sound better. And there's a certain level of exclusivity that it provides towards AEW when you know there's only so many tickets available. People aren't going to go, oh, well, I'll wait, or I'll go next time. It's like, oh, no, they're coming to town. We better get it because otherwise we're going to miss it.
It drives the people who actually enjoy the product to kind of be more, I want to go because it's more exclusive, the big time. Yeah. Because the crowds are big. The product was a big reason, but I think the crowds weren't what they used to be. And it kind of took me out of wanting to go as often, because I used to go to every Jacksonville show. I'd make that 4-hour journey. And because I loved the crowd, it's fun, it's infectious. And even if the show is so to me, the crowd's into it. So I am automatically just like, let's fucking go. This is fun. And then they kind of died out and the crowd started dwindling. And I was like, I'm not making that 4-hour journey anymore. So this will help, I think.
I feel a large part of the reason the crowd started dwindling off was Tony's obsession with oversaturating markets.
Yeah.
Like he ran
the wrong markets too.
He ran Chicago for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, that's insane. Running Texas for 5 weeks in a row. It's like you need
that was just for Collision though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it did work out for them as well. It did work out for them, which is great. Because if you're going to run a market like that, I think that's the way you do it. Because that's what NXT does. It's in the same place, and then you get the normal people, and then you get the people who always get left out that are constantly trying to go.
Yeah.
So it's like a revolving door, and it's something that they can look forward to every week, and I think that's a good idea. I think doing it longer than a 2-month stretch is probably not a good idea, which is why I've always said, like, do territory. Do it like a territory. Do it here for 2 months and then go from the Midwest to the Northeast and then go from the Northeast to the Southwest and then from the Southwest to the South.
Yeah.
Like run it like a territory, because these guys apparently love the territory days. So give them a little bit of extra feel to it. I think that would be brilliant for them.
No, I like that.
But yeah, the smaller venues are great. Apparently, the reason they didn't is because their stage setup was too big.
Something about the lighting rig having massive issues fitting into a smaller venue.
That sounds like a silly excuse, honestly.
Yeah, it really
does.
To
me, it does. But
you're a billionaire, Tony. Build a new one.
I'm just a fan. I don't really know.
So,
and I'm not
I mean, I work in film, and I can see that being an issue because I've seen how big some of those lighting rigs are. And if they don't have a proper, what's that?
Get a new
one. Billionaire, build a new one.
Well, no, that's the solution. The solution there is, okay, if we're going to downsize where we're going, then we just need to downsize our stage. I'm saying I can understand that being the issue of,
for sure.
We have this huge stage and that we designed it because we were, exclusively thinking we're going to run bigger buildings. So I understand that,
I wasn't saying it as a way of like, that's an excuse not to do it. It was just an excuse because it's like, you could fix that problem.
Right.
It's not like you're hurting for money, pal. You throw it away all the time. So, and I think one of the things they're doing is at a con, which is a brilliant idea. I've had that idea before. I was like, why aren't they doing that? Because when I go to wrestling cons, they have wrestling shows at them.
Yeah, and
so if you have wrestlers at cons, why not have a show at the con?
Yeah,
because people are just going to file in anyway.
Yeah, just to see what is going on about.
Yeah, right. Let's see what Harry. Before we go to Albert here, we got Harry saying, "I'm thankful for the women's division is now absolutely
complete."
That's so funny. You know, we keep saying we're not planning these things, and they tend to work out. I was going to move on from AEW and start talking about WWE, and I was going to move on saying that I'm thankful for this recent renewed focus on the women's division in WWE. I think it's been absolutely phenomenal. The little promos that we saw on Monday for Lyra Valkyria and for Dakota Kai, I think they were fantastic. I love that. I love them, WWE now showing us, okay, Dakota Kai's taking a leap here. She's not just going to be the sidekick. She's going to be, it looks like she's going to be the one in the singles division right now as, Asuka, as Io and Kairi are in the tag division, which is great.
Yeah, that's Io is number one contender.
Right. But I mean,
that's just filler, though. That's filler.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she's not going to win the championship. Right. So, but I think, look, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, whatever you think about their program, whatever you think about them each as performers, there is no doubt that they've elevated the WWE and putting them into a main event program. They're like opening and closing most of the show. And it's not, everybody's like, oh, well, Judgment Day is there. Yeah, but it's not just Judgment Day. It's mostly Liv and Rhea and Raquel. And now we've got a War Games match, which is,
you left out the greatest superstar in WWE history.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Did I? Well, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Take that, sir. Dominic Mysterio deserves more praise and gloating and all that good stuff, sir. Learn your lesson.
You're talking about Chelsea Green.
Learn your lesson.
I think you're talking about Chelsea Green.
I thought we were talking about Dominic Mysterio because we were talking about Liv and Rhea and the Judgment Day and all that.
But the point being is that this whole story is really based around these two women, and it's the main event story on Raw, really more than almost anything else. Les Gunther and Damian Priest are there or whatever, but there's this big hyper-focused renewal on the Raw's women's division, and on SmackDown, they're almost like the women's matches are opening and like closing almost every show over the past like couple of weeks.
And I would like to point out, this is the echo chamber thing we were talking about earlier, and it's literally online. It's not just one app or anything. It's literally online because the people who complain about Liv and Rhea in this ongoing feud that never ends, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? The people who are online just bitching just for the sake of bitching because they're like, if I say something, people will listen to me, blah, 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 are spending their hard-earned money, especially in this economy right now, are spending their hard-earned money on Liv and Rhea merchandise because they love what they're watching. For all the people who are like, what does merch sales have to do with anything? Because if I'm not spending my money on shit that I don't like, that's simple. You got to be stupid to not understand that. And the fact that Liv and Rhea are both a top 10 merch seller of 2024, with Liv being number one, a girl who last year everyone was like, she's just never gonna get it. This year she's a number one merch seller because of the stories they're telling her and the positions they're putting her in. People are loving it. They're spending their money, and that's fantastic news for the women's division because that's not Becky Lynch, it's not Charlotte Flair, it's not Bayley, and it's not Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné. It's not the Four Horsemen that they relied on for so damn long. It's new blood.
And
WCW reference.
And kudos to just then them also building Jade Cargill, them also giving this renewed, like very long extended push with Bianca Belair, being in main programs on their TV show. They're booking women like they're booking stars. Becky Lynch was booked probably best over the past year and a half than she was almost in her entire career. Yeah. They made her an attraction. She came in and everything she did felt like it was big business. Yeah. She had multiple feuds, no championships involved, and it made for great TV.
Nia Jax
is doing fantastic work. I mean, and now they have
the Triple H traditionalist of having the tag team champions put the world champion over.
Yeah,
it works. It's worked for 45 years.
Also, Candice LeRae has been getting on TV on a weekly basis. This is a person that everyone's been like, why isn't he pushing? They are now.
Yeah,
it's been very slow. I 100% agree with it, but I've been saying for a while now, as like if you watch it, you can see they are building it up.
Yeah,
they're clearly building it up. You just have to have some patience because you can't shock the system. Undisputed Era, another reference there for you, by just throwing it all at our face at once. You gotta slow build it in, and they've done a great job with it.
The best way to look at it is for the last couple of years of Vince's reign, he treated WWE like TikTok videos. Where everything had to be now, instant. Triple H is writing a book with his tales. He's writing a series of novels. Well, most of the time. He's writing a series of books and stories that are being told. And the fact that stories are the focus, again, is what wrestling's supposed to be. You'll get this, Albert. It's theater.
100%.
That's what professional wrestling is.
Pro wrestling is Broadway more than anything else in the world.
And it's, I am, me, timing and stories, two most important things in wrestling to me. And right now, WWE has got perfect timing. They've got perfect pace. Everything is going according to plan. And maybe having more than 5 matches on a pay-per-view wouldn't be such a bad idea, but I like the formula.
I like 5 matches for the lower ones, and then the bigger ones having more matches. I think that's brilliant because the bigger ones are more of a celebration, and the smaller ones are like, hey, we're not just giving these matches to anybody. They're for the big ones. These are the highlights of the show you are watching on a weekly basis. If you want to see the culmination of those, you have to watch this show, and that's why I like them. Like, I don't know if people kind of put 2 and 2 together with those, or if they're just like, it just is a short card. Shut up.
Pro wrestling fans are very much living in this bubble where things have to change consistently, but nothing can change.
Yeah.
And WWE used to load up all of their pay-per-views with like 15 matches.
Meaningless bullshit.
Dude, but the other big problem with that is that all those matches were like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you really want to like get like these big blow off matches for these feuds and stuff like that, and people will be like, well, they show all these video packages and cut down on this, cut down on that. Sure, maybe you can add another match or 2 in there. That could be fun. I'm not disagreeing with that, but for the most part, the idea is, hey, if you're coming here to see the culmination of this big on-screen rivalry that you've watched throughout this entire month unfold, we're going to give you this opportunity to not have it, be finished in 6 minutes. It's going to take 18 minutes. They're going to be able to do more than just, have a quick match and go, oh man, there it goes. End of the story. They're giving you a good conclusion. That's why you're getting shorter cards. So
2 things here. I'm going to pull up this. My not give a fuck button is broken today. I really don't give a fuck today.
I'm glad.
Liv is okay, but she is no Nikki Bella. She is leagues ahead of Nikki Bella in every single way, sir. Nikki Bella is overrated. Right. I don't give a damn what anybody says.
Nikki Bella sucks. Nikki Bella was hired because she was fucking John Cena. Part of my language.
I don't know about all that. I just know that it was a great package. The twin package was
needed to learn, to quote AJ Lee, that talent is not sexually transmitted.
Those are not my words, everybody.
No, they're mine.
Well, actually, they were AJ's.
I'm gonna bring up the video package thing because, again, I don't really give a shit today. The video package thing. This is how stupid some people are, because there are certain fans who only tune in to watch the pay-per-views. They're like, 5, 6, 7 hours of WWE television is too much for me. And then they turn into the pay-per-views. And then they'll sit there and be like, why are these people fighting? Why are they showing so many video packages? You idiot. You just answered your own question. You just answered your own question. You don't have to wonder why they're wrestling because they give you a video package to give you the entire story as to why you're doing it. Amanda is so thankful for this because she doesn't get to watch it all the time with me. So when she tunes in and watches the pay-per-views with me, she'll sit there and be like, oh, okay. And now she knows. I've literally watched like people on watch-alongs say exactly what I just said. Why are these guys fighting? And then 10 minutes later, another video package. Jeez. Well,
you wanted to know. They're telling you why.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah, and in the same vein, Jimmy, you know, like Tamara's been like in and out with everything, but now this new bloodline thing. There was one day I was watching SmackDown, and she was like, "Oh, this is what's going on." And then it was right before the 6-man tag match that they had, where the bloodline that the new bloodline won. And she was like, and she saw like the video package leading up to it. And she saw the whole, you know, the way that everything escalated. She went, I want to watch this match now. Like, you have to tell me when this is on because I want to see this.
There's a reason.
That's why there are video packages. That's why they do this stuff, because for people who weren't there last week or for people who don't watch every week, it's very concise to say, hey, in 3 minutes, we're going to tell you all the big plot points that we've hit for the past couple of weeks to catch you up. And this is why this is happening.
We're going to give you a movie trailer.
Yes, exactly. And here's your future film for the night.
Previously on WWE.
If you're watching this, video promo and you don't like it, hey, you probably shouldn't watch the match because you're not going to give a shit.
Yep.
They're saving you time. like you can't just think with black and white thought processing. You can't.
No.
There's reasons for everything. They have departments that they pay a lot of money to figure this stuff out.
Wrestling is eternal shades of gray. It always has been and always will.
100%.
With that, I'll move into what I'm thankful for. Video packages was not what I was thankful for.
Being spicy today,
even though I am thankful for them. I don't know what it was. I just woke up and was like, I hate people today, and I'm gonna just go off.
Because we're surrounded by double-digit IQs, Jim.
Double digit is true. Very generous, man.
Yep.
I'm thankful for. I can't believe it's taken this long to get there. I am thankful for Dominic Mysterio, baby. Because
no way.
Nothing in professional wrestling that is better than that kid right now. And you can call it a love letter or a sick, weird infatuation with someone all you want. But let me tell you something. Nobody captures an audience better than Dominic Mysterio does right now. And he doesn't even have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people who are like, what does he do? You are jealous of him. That's what he does, because he picks up all the ladies that you can't pick up. He's in a position because of his daddy. And he basically said, screw you, daddy, because his daddy sucks. He's a deadbeat.
His dad, it's his uncle. He's Eddie Guerrero's son.
In kayfabe, Ray, the dad, is a deadbeat. And we're like, how could you do that to your dad who's given you everything and got you where he's at? Piss on that. Dominic Mysterio is where he's at because Dominic Mysterio is fantastic. He has been the highlight of Raw pretty much since he turned on it, that deadbeat, and has just escalated ever since. And I'm so thankful that he proved me wrong. Because I said he ain't going to do
Dominic
shit.
Mysterio is. He was going to be booked in a match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania before all of the Vince court cases started.
No, Elimination Chamber, not WrestleMania.
Sorry, Elimination Chamber. Yeah. And if you don't understand how big a deal that is for a talent to be put in there with effectively, no offense to The Rock, the final boss of professional wrestling.
They literally put the title. They took the title off Jinder Mahal and put on AJ Styles because Brock Lesnar said, I'm not wrestling Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
That's how big of a deal Brock Lesnar was to Vince. And the fact that he was going to give him that kind of spot is incredible.
Yeah.
And I forgot what I was about to say, but he's fantastic, everybody. I'm so sick of the disrespect of this kid. He's amazing.
There's no doubt in my mind that there has not been a hotter heel in pro wrestling over the past few years, with the exception of MJF as Dominic Mysterio. Like that is like AEW, WWE,
Christian Cage.
Short Christian too, but I don't even think he's on that level anymore. Like,
No.
Can I just step in real quick and just say something? Christian Cage's moment lasted this long.
That's my
MJF
point.
fizzled the F out big time, and
Yeah,
now
he
he
did.
just comes across a try-hard. The only person that I think even comes close to what Dominic has done is Don Callis. Only
Yes.
person even close.
That's fair.
That's how good Dominic is. And this is what I was going to say. The little things that Dominic Mysterio has picked up on that people who have been wrestling for 20 years can't pick up is exactly why he's in the position he's in now. He knows how to do all these little things to just play to the crowd to make them hate him even more.
It's not just
Timing,
that, but
timing.
That kid has timing.
I know.
For
Yes,
days,
he does.
And it's
right?
not
And
just in-ring
just
stuff.
that.
It's not just in-ring stuff.
It's little things he does as well. Like one of my biggest pet peeves is wrestlers staring at the referee when they make the count. Dominic doesn't do that.
No.
Dominic shuts his eyes and he listens for the referee's cadence, and he kicks out when he's bloody well supposed to. He doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't forget to kick out of pins. There are no accidental 4 counts when Dominic Mysterio is in a match. The kid gets it. And it is so rare that a talent comes along in the modern day that doesn't want to be Will Ospreay or Ricochet or Kenny Omega, that just wants to be a great wrestler that represents the style of wrestling that he was raised in.
You know, one thing that you look at Dom and you see, you know, like everybody's going to think, okay, well, he's Rey Mysterio's son. This is not in any way the run that anybody thought that he was going to have. And I think it's the best thing for him, because he blew us all away by realizing that if we play into this kid's natural strengths as being, you know, this heel and this braggadocious kind of a character, when, you know, like, this is going to make us way more money. And Dom has proven that with a couple of looks, he doesn't even need to even speak. With a couple of looks, he gets over. The whole thing with that, yes. How about the idea with where Tiffany said she was going to take Liv's title and maybe Dom too? And then Liv just...
That's the timing I was talking about.
That's it. It's right there. He's got it down. He knows what to do. He knows how to milk a crowd. He knows how to get heat. He's just great at everything he's doing right now.
I dare anybody, and this isn't really a wrestling thing. It's more of just a live production thing. But I dare anyone to try and tell me someone that works that camera better than Dominic Mysterio in a way that benefits the character, because nobody does it.
That's the
even
key.
The crowd, not even just the camera, the crowd itself. Nobody does it better than him.
And what a lot of people don't realize is Dom got thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah.
He skipped NXT. He had to sink or swim. And in my opinion, when he was doing the babyface run with Ray, it wasn't clicking.
I'm glad they did it, though.
But no, I'm glad they did it, because it launched him to where he is now because of the turn.
Yep.
And that's where I was going with it at first is I always said, if he doesn't go to NXT, he's going to just fail. He's going to be a big failure if he doesn't go to NXT. And he proved me wrong. And all he did was just make that switch, and it was beautiful. And now I'll just say this too. I don't think it was going to be a big match. It was probably going to be about a 5-minute match. But regardless of the fact that Brock Lesnar was like, "Yeah, I'll work with this kid," it's a huge thing.
Yeah,
it's huge. And he was going to eliminate him from the freaking Royal Rumble.
Brock loves working with smaller guys.
He does.
But even then,
Dom would have bumped a round like a madman for him. It would have been like Kurt Hennig circa 89.
Dom is a top 5 bumper in WWE too. Yeah. Like he sells for these people like crazy.
That's the key. He sells.
He puts people over, and he's not really supposed to, because he's the young guy.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Nick, I'll let you go now. With this praise-a-thon has gone on long enough. Even though I could keep going.
I'm going to go slightly back to video packages, because I am thankful for Jeremy Borash.
Hey, I like that.
Jeremy Borash is I've met Jeremy twice. Once in Liverpool, once in Manchester. He is an absolutely lovely human being. And he understands the nuances of wrestling production like few other wrestlers and few other people in the wrestling business. He really gets how to show, to quote Paul Heyman, hide the negatives, accentuate the positives. But he does it through video packages and promo packages, camera work, angles, lighting, the tonal shift. Karrion Kross is a perfect example. 6 months ago, Karrion Kross was the biggest waste of space in WWE. I absolutely adore what he is currently doing with The Miz.
Yeah,
It's
I
fantastic.
think it's
Unreal.
fantastic work. He's cutting promos from his garage / gym on YouTube, smoking a cigar, talking about all of this as if it's his master plan and he's Lex Luthor. It's absolute brilliant. And this is all because Jeremy is producing his segments. If you look at the Shinsuke Nakamura promos when he came back first, the anime ones they did, Jeremy Borash. The Damage Control promos, Jeremy Borash. The Bloodline promo packages, Jeremy Borash. I know you didn't like it, Jimmy, but the Cody Roman Stadium package, Jeremy Borash.
It was a beautiful piece of work. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just thought it wasn't a TV thing. That was my own.
No,
was,
I get what you mean.
It was
But
overproduced for TV.
I mean, Jeremy did wonders for TNA for 15 years when he was under Jeff Jarrett working there. And it's just, I'm so happy that Triple H has seen what he can do for the business and said, you're going to be one of my guys. I'm going to put you in a position to be successful. I'm going to put you in a position to help others be successful, which is even more important. And Jeremy's taken to it like a fish to water, because I imagine going into the machine that is WWE is no easy task when you only know a handful of people and you are now been put in a position of a relative power where you are telling people what they should be doing. That must be very nerve-wracking at first. And Jeremy's done an incredible job. Okay, there you go.
I think there's a lot of people don't understand, especially people who don't work in production, how hard some of the production things are on the side of being, in the WWE. Just the idea of, and I say this about the writers too, who don't get enough credit. 52 weeks a year, they have to come up with something brand new and fresh. They don't get they very rarely do they get a week off that they're not creating brand new content. Very rarely are they getting a week off, where they're not having to come up with something, better that has to outdo the week before. And actually,
WWE writers are the mangakas of wrestling television.
And it's, at the end of the day, there's just so much that goes into making these shows big. And I think that a lot of people don't understand what the presentation really does to all this stuff. And Jeremy Borash being one of those people who assists with the amazing presentation that the WWE has. They're on the cutting edge of everything, and Vince used to say, I don't ever want to be first for anything. Whoever goes first is a sucker. I want to be second because I want to see somebody else do it. And then I'm going to take what they did and expand on it. The only time he never did that was the WWE Network. And now everybody stole what the WWE Network was and, took it all for their own. So he was right in that way. But the idea that WWE now has kind of gotten back to being on this cutting edge of, the way that their shows are being produced, the way that they're being shot. I mean, we don't have the Kevin Dunn camera cuts anymore. There's a lot of long shots from ringside, framed around the action to accentuate all the moves that are going to go on. Like, it's unbelievable how well produced their television shows are now. And that is something that is so flown under the radar that people don't realize that the product is improved, not just because of the on-screen stuff, but because of what's going into putting it on screen in front of you.
One little thing is Vince McMahon never used to film anybody's face when they were wrestling. He had this weird obsession where he was like, you can't focus on their faces.
That's weird.
I don't think a Roman Reigns match would be the same if they didn't film his face for half the match.
Yeah, because he's telling the story with his face too.
Exactly. He's telling the story with his face, telling the story with his words. You need to be able to see and hear what these people are saying and doing. And whoever the production team is that he's got, I don't know who it is that's taken over from Kevin Dunn's job. I haven't got a clue.
Is that Lee Fitting, right?
Oh, it's Lee Fitting. I don't know who he is. I'm not going to lie.
He's great.
I'm assuming he's done production before, but I have no idea what it would be.
Yeah, I know that he had. I remember when he got hired. He had a pretty extensive background. I don't know if it was the golf. He had a pretty extensive background in television production, and he's knocking it out of the park. A perfect fit, because the thing about a lot of people will be like, oh, it's pro wrestling. Hire somebody with pro wrestling experience. No, what's great? Somebody who has no idea what pro wrestling is sometimes, because then their ideas are out of the box and go, why don't we shoot Jey Uso coming out from the crowd and, from the bowl and then walk all the way through the crowd? Why don't we do these big, long, sweeping promos where things will interact backstage and interconnect? Like, it's outside forces like that sometimes,
because it's a TV show, so things should be going from segment to segment with some continuity. Like, that's a big thing, and I think that's what's helped make the shows easier to watch. I do wish that they would cut back on some of the things they do to make them more special. Like when they did the entrance with Sami Zayn in the thing, hyping up with the crowd out in the where they get food and all that, and then he came down. That was amazing. And then they did it with Jey Uso, and that's amazing. I don't want to see that every other week. And I don't think they really do it that much. But they got to save things for such a moment, because WWE does have a tendency to run some things right into the ground. Spear through the barricade, knock that shit off. Braun Breaker doing the spear around, knock it off, man. I do love the overhead shot that they do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it every week or whatever. Don't, because it kills the effectiveness of it.
Less is more.
That's the DIY promos on the way to the ring. Something so simple but so great that they that they did with them. Yeah. I
like that they do it with DIY continuously. I don't like it that they do it with other people now. It's like that was their thing. Now it's not as cool and special. So look at me, I'm crapping on something WWE does. I'm sorry, Papa.
We didn't mean it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can still use my ideas.
Seriously,
we know you do. Hell, fightfully using your ideas.
Yeah, I'll move on from that.
Sorry, I had to get that in there.
Yeah, that's something. What was I? Okay, I'm thankful. I'm gonna go back in time on this one. I'm thankful that Jake Roberts sicked that snake on Macho Man Randy Savage back in the day, because had I never seen that, I don't know if I would have ever jumped into this world of professional wrestling and be here today. Is like literally the thing outside of my family that I love more than anything. Like, I love professional wrestling, and it all started with Jake the Snake being a son of a bitch, sicking that snake on Macho Man. So thank you, Jake the Snake, and thank you, Macho Man up there, for being a soldier and letting that snake bite you on the arm, even though I know you didn't like it. I know you didn't want to do it, but thank you for doing it.
Snake better be devenomized.
Let it bite you.
Snake is good. No, but you first, then, all right? Yeah.
So thank you. I wanted to get that in there. Thank you, because that's what's brought me here today. I guess you could also say Razor and the Scott Hall show up on Nitro. That's another big one. And Punk, Straight Edge Society. Those are the three things that I am thankful for as far as storylines that have happened in wrestling, because I don't think I'd be a wrestling fan today without those three instances.
I remember vividly, Jimmy. Running, and I don't remember a lot of stuff from when I'm a kid. Like I don't have a good memory like that, but I vividly remember being in my living room in my old house that I grew up in, and running from the living room into the kitchen, through the kitchen into my parents' room, screaming out loud to my dad, who was like just about to get ready to go, like just like waking up after working his ass off. Jake's snake bit the Macho Man on the arm. He had him tied in the ropes, and he bit him on the arm. Dad, I can't believe they wouldn't even show it. They put an X over it. They wouldn't even show it, but it bit him. Like the X moved, and you could see the snake. It bit. Like I remember being that kid, and there's just nothing in the world that will ever hook you into something like that than having those moments as a kid where you see something that you didn't even believe could even be possible in the realm of what you're watching. And that's it. Like it's just, and the fact that it was Macho Man too. I mean, I was almost near tears. That's my favorite wrestler of all time. Like I was like, I can't believe that they would let them, something could happen to him. What if he's, like, of course I'm a kid, but all snakes have venom in him. He's going to die, like, I mean, it's.
Yeah. So that's what is with it, because I had watched other wrestling things, but it was just matches and Royal Rumbles and all that. And I remember watching them. I don't remember who won. I don't remember anybody grabbing my attention. I just nothing. The snake, I was like, that's not wrestling. What is going on here? And that's what brought me in. And that's why I'll never forget it. And I'll always be grateful for it. I remember telling this story to Jake the Snake. He was super happy to hear it. Love Jake. If you ever get a chance to talk to him at a con, definitely do so. He will talk your ear off. And it's cool just to hear those stories. But yeah, that was such a huge moment. And then the other ones as well. I won't get into them. We're running out of time. I'll allow Nick to go now, but I just wanted to get those in there. Thank you.
You beat me to it, because I'm also going to go backwards in time, because I am thankful for Clash of Champions 1988. I was 5 years old. It was 3 a.m. I had chronic toothache. I couldn't sleep. So my dad put me downstairs and he put channel 4 on. We only had 4 channels back in the day, folks. It was a dark time.
No streaming services.
No.
Yeah, right.
It was 4 a.m.
You watch what was on those
he
channels,
put
and that's
Channel
it.
4 on. We were still living in Australia at the time. And I saw this 6'4", blonde, flat top guy with face paint beat the snot out of this villainous old man. Wasn't an old man at the time, but Rick's looked old since he was 20.
Ultimate Warrior.
Don't you? No.
I had to get
one
that
is
in,
top
man.
10 of all time. One is not even top 500. But I am thankful for that, and I am thankful for Wembley Stadium, 1992. Yes, 1992, 1993. I can never remember the year. I always get it wrong. But Bret Hart versus Davey Boy Smith for the
92.
Intercontinental Championship. 92. Because that is the match that got me properly into WWF. I was a WCW kid. I was always an NWA WCW kid after 88. That's what I watched because Sting was my guy. But when I saw Bret and Davey just do what they did, and when you find out years later what Davey did the night before, and he still managed to get through that match thanks to Bret, it makes it even greater. I am thankful for what wrestling has done for my life. I am thankful for the people that wrestling has allowed me to meet, the avenues that wrestling has opened. It's allowed me to do this. And you go back to the 90s, even during the Attitude Era, people may not remember this, but you didn't talk about wrestling in public.
Sure, I did.
Well, not put it this way: you might have in America, Jim, but you didn't in England.
Bro, we were jumping kids in school with our NWO shirts on.
Oh, no, wrestling was huge. Like,
yeah,
I was in junior high when the Attitude Era kicked off. Like, we were like, every day kids were coming in after, on Tuesdays, and the girls would be getting mad because all the guys would just be talking about wrestling.
I hate it for you, Nick. I hate that you couldn't experience it like that.
Yeah, because
because now has always been a more of a taboo fan thing in the UK until probably the turn of the century.
It's that way now. So if you want, we've got it now.
Exactly.
Because now everybody's still like, oh, it's fake, right?
You watch that shit still?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
yeah, I do. I like it. Do you have a problem? Like,
I watch Dancing with the Stars and leave me alone.
To quote Sting, it is the greatest bloke soap of all time.
Yeah,
you have good guys versus bad guys. You have epic storylines. You have weak storylines. You have comedy, tragedy, drama. Everything you want from a live entertainment product is provided to you every week for 7 hours in the case of WWE, 6 hours, 5-6 hours in the case of AEW. And like you said earlier, Albert, there is so much choice. There are so many places for people to work. There are so many places for fans to go to enjoy what professional wrestling is. It is a wonderful, wonderful time to be a professional wrestling fan. I don't think there's been a better time to be a professional wrestling fan than right now.
Yeah, it's so much fun because, like when we were kids, we didn't have the ability to just, click onto a YouTube link and go see this match that we've never seen before. Like when we were on the cutting edge of, being a pro wrestling on the internet, that was like the greatest time to be alive because everybody just uploaded everything. And that's how I first discovered Ring of Honor, because I'm going back and seeing like, wait, who is this guy? Who's that guy? Now all of a sudden, bam, I'm into Ring of Honor. And now I'm paying to go to Ring of Honor shows because I saw this YouTube clip of Colt Cabana versus CM Punk. And I'm like, wait, what is this? And it's, it's magical moments that we've had growing up as being wrestling fans, that we've experienced a lot of different things growing up. And this is the most fun it's ever been, where I can just go and click on one app and watch every Royal Rumble from November until the newest one in January. And I can watch every Royal Rumble match ever. And I don't have to worry about like switching tapes or putting in DVDs. I just go.
I'll say this. I'm thankful that it wasn't at our fingertips this much when I was younger, because my life would be insanely different and probably not for the better. That's how much I was just thirsting for wrestling back in the day. But it is great to have it now, because when I have some time, free time on my hand, some extra time, or my son, he sees something that he's like, because my son, what got him into it is he saw John Cena. He didn't know he was a wrestler. He knew nothing about him. He just saw him on something. He liked him. So I was like, here it is. Then he started listening to Fozzy, and I was like, I'm about to blow your mind, buddy. This is Chris Jericho. He is a wrestler too. And then that's kind of what got him into wrestling. So that's cool that we have it at our fingertips now. But man, I'm thankful. As a kid, that would have been That would have been a horrible time for me.
I had a lot of
bad for you.
I had a lot of VHS tapes. And I spent a lot of days and nights, afternoons in my room watching old VHS wrestling tapes and playing with my wrestling figures. Yeah. Thank God that the internet didn't exist. That there was more wrestling out there. Forget about it. Yeah. Oh my God.
So, Harry, what show was this? Go ahead and put it up there for you. And you think, that's what I was saying with the IWC stuff. I'm thankful for the IWC because I get to meet friends through it. And I've met a bunch of them in person. And it's awesome. You know what? This is going to hurt me to say it. Rey Mysterio was a big deal to me as a kid.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons I kept watching WCW as a kid. Little did I know he was such a deadbeat. I'm thankful for Chelsea Green. I think we all are. And if you're not, get the F out.
Future U.S. Women's Champion.
I hope so.
Chelsea Green is a perfect example of maximizing your minutes.
Yes. And Albert, go ahead and get you in last before we nip this show in the butt. One last thankful.
I'm thankful for you guys. For getting to do this show with you guys, for getting to talk about wrestling for an hour every week and Tidy as well. I know he's not here, but in Tidy spirit, I love that I get to talk wrestling with a bunch of really cool people for an hour, and we don't have to scream and yell and be negative about things.
We will be. We do it from time to time.
Sometimes we do because sometimes
tune into the Nitro reviews.
You might not have a choice when you do those Nitro reviews. Some of those episodes are really dreadful. But I like that we get to have this experience where we get to talk about wrestling and be positive about it. We get to talk in the chat, with people who enjoy the same thing as we do. Because at the end of the day, as much as you maybe like one company more than another or one wrestler more than another, we're all fans of this same medium, and it's really cool to get to interact with other people who are also fans of that get it, so you can talk about it like a nerd and not feel judged. And I love the little community that we have here, and I very much appreciate being a part of it.
Okay, one more thing. I got to get it out of you. Give us an old memory from wrestling that you're thankful for, and you can't use mine because you already did.
Okay,
give us another one real quick.
I got one. 1991 SummerSlam. The Hart Foundation beat Demolition for the World Tag Team titles. And I was the biggest Demolition fan in the entire world, which is funny because Bret Hart's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But I just loved Demolition. I don't know what it was. It must have just been, the face paint and shit like that. When I was a kid, I was like, oh my God.
Rock stars, man. Cool. Rock stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I swore up and down. I kept telling my dad, I'm like, Demolition's going to win. They're going to win. Bret Hart is, he's a singles guy now. The Hart Foundation's barely even a tag team. The Demolition's going to win. My dad was like, he knew, and he was like, I don't think so. And they lost, and I got up and ran into my room and cried actual tears because he would not stop rubbing it in. He was like, I told you. I was so mad. But that's how emotionally invested as a kid I was. Yeah. And this isn't the main event. This isn't the biggest story in the company. This is the tag team titles. It's like fourth on the card of SummerSlam. You know what I mean? It's nothing but every single thing meant so much to me. And that's what I love about wrestling. That's what I love about. That's how what got me into it. And those feelings, those emotions that come out sometimes now when CM Punk returns after we never thought he's coming back to WWE, when they do these big things at WrestleMania that, like being there for The Rock returning in person, being there, watch The Rock return, not only just at WrestleMania, but then, 15 years earlier, watching him return at SummerSlam at Survivor Series when nobody thought he was ever going to come back to wrestling. I got to be there live for some of these things. And it's amazing that we get this experience, that we can be around all these other people who are just as crazy as we are about it. It's so much fun.
And just to add on to it real quick before we do our outro or whatever we're going to do to end the show. He's bringing up being there at live events and being thankful for the moments that happen. I am so thankful that whoever did it, I don't know who it is, but I am eternally grateful and in debt to you. I am so thankful that I got to be there live for a Stone Cold Steve Austin match, which is something that was literally impossible in my head because he was part of the reason I quit watching in 2003 because it was like he's done. That's it for WWF. He was the guy for me in WWF, and WCW would, about a year and a half earlier, 2 years earlier, went down the drain and WWE screwed it up. So to get to see that guy live and not just do a match that was really freaking good and entertaining, I'm so thankful for her did that. So I love you. But now we will say our goodbyes. We've went 5 minutes over, but that's fine because we were having fun. And that's what we're supposed to be doing as wrestling fans, talking about wrestling with other wrestling fans, not jumping at each other's throats. So Nick, I will swing it over to you. Do you have anything you would like to plug or say before we bid our adieu?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and legionnaires of all ages, if you like the sound of my voice, if you like what I do, if you like my friends Andy and Si, you can find us on a weekly basis over on the Wrestling Legion YouTube channel. We do all sorts of stuff. Not that regular these days because it's kind of a one-man ship when the boys are busy, but
I try to fill in when I can.
Is always there to help out. We do what we can. We love talking about wrestling. We do what we can. And of course, as Jimmy has already brought up, next Friday, the 29th, I believe. The 29th.
The day after Thanksgiving.
The day after Thanksgiving. Well, I'm England. We don't do Thanksgiving.
For the American viewers.
For the American viewers, it's the day after Thanksgiving. We will be starting our Monday Nitro reviews. This is a crazy idea I had because Jimmy and I were both WCW kids, where we're going to go back and we're going to watch every single episode of Monday Nitro. We're going to do it so you don't have to.
It's incredible.
I'm excited, man. Like I didn't watch much of that first little bit before Scott Hall got there, so there's gonna be a lot of stuff I'd never seen.
I've watched that first Nitro a bunch from All America, and then I've watched that second Nitro, and then I went, "Oh wow, okay, they really went all out on the first one. It's going to get rough from here on out."
I've never watched the first one all the way through. So next week, you're going to get a legit, honest reaction of a true WCW. Like, I lived that shit as a kid.
It was such a fun show.
So you're going to get some honest reactions next week when we watch it. I'm going to tune it in. I think I'm going to probably watch it Thursday night. So I'll have it like fresh in the head. And everything.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it Thursday night.
So yeah, that's what I'll plug as well next Friday on this channel right here. It's going to be, I think, 5 or 4 in the afternoon in the UK. It'll be 11. I can't remember the time exactly. If you follow me on X or whatever, or if you're here from Blue Sky, I don't know. If you just follow me on social media, I'll have the information for you. You can follow us, or you could just hit the bell on the YouTube page and it'll tell you when it's going to be there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll be back here next Wednesday. Won't be because Thanksgiving in America, and I don't want to take people away from their families eating and stuff in their face. We'll be doing our Survivor Series show back on Wrestle Buddy. Another person I'm super thankful for. I can't believe I left his name out when I was talking about the IWC people. I wouldn't have met Nick and all of them if it wasn't for him first. He's literally one of my best friends in the world, and I met him through the IWC, so that's fantastic. But we'll be back on that channel next Wednesday for a special day, but at the same time at 5. And then after that Thanksgiving, we'll be back on Thursdays. But so yeah, Survivor Series is next week. And I'm sure we'll probably be on Sunday, Nick, over on Wrestling Legion. I'm sure that's probably going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So check us out.
I have no plans this weekend. My gaming schedule is free. My streaming is all sorted out. Oh, yes. Also, totally forgot, plug for myself. If you like
this guy,
this
fucking guy.
If you like computer games, come over to the Geek Gaming. I am streaming GM mode. We're getting versus my brother currently. I am Raw. He is SmackDown. He's currently winning. It's really annoying me. But I made a tactical error.
Next Wednesday, Courtney. Same time though. Same time. 6 o'clock for you.
So if you like it, come over to the Geek Gaming. You can find me streaming all sorts of games on a daily basis.
So yeah, go follow him if you're into gaming stuff. It's the most exceptional and amazing video game play you have ever seen in your life.
When it comes to Monster Hunter, it
shut
really
up.
is.
Shut up. Shh. You gotta sell. Come on now. Be a Dominic Mysterio level seller here, not freaking, I don't know, a bad seller. I don't know.
Chelsea Green.
She's a great seller.
She's amazing.
Yeah, Full Gear Saturday. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch. I'll if I can, I will. I'm not really sold on a bunch
I'm probably going to watch it on Sunday.
Yeah, I might try that. And Albert, do you have anything you'd like to say or do before we say our goodbyes?
This has been lovely.
That's perfect. And if you have time, you like toys, go watch Slam Sessions because he's got a lot of toys over there. It's older content, but if you haven't seen it, it's new to
really good. This is the Matt Cardona of wrestling YouTube.
Bingo, bango. Matt Cardona, what do you say about your Macho Man collection?
He said I had a very nice Macho Man collection.
Yeah, so Matt Cardona signed off on this guy's Macho Man
He absolutely
collection.
did. Said it on a podcast.
Yeah, so that should alone entice you to go check it out. But with that, we will say our goodbyes now. Thank you for watching. Do all that stuff that the YouTubers tell you to do at the end of the show. I could care less, but if you want to, that'd be great. And in the meantime, we will see you next Wednesday for the Survivor Series show podcast on Wrestle Buddy. Toodles.
Just enjoy wrestling, everybody.
Yeah, just enjoy.